The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide.
And welcome back to the NFL Today. Right now, the Broncos and Bears are getting set for their matchup. And as we approach kickoff, let's take you first on the field and send you out live to Chicago with our announcers, Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts. Gentlemen.
JB, a winter blast hit parts of the Midwest yesterday. The snow was heavy at times here in Chicago. Today, though, sunny skies with a high near 30. One thing that hasn't been chilly, the play of Bears quarterback Jay Cutler. He's been on a roll, thriving in a new offense and an opportunity for his team to get to the 500 mark. For the Broncos, a new quarterback. Brock Osweiler has been waiting for his chance. Today, he makes his first NFL start on his 25th birthday. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Hi, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. Evan Washburn joins us down on the sidelines. 1 week ago, Peyton Manning broke the NFL record for most career passing yards, and he did not make the trip today here to Chicago. Rehab back in Denver on the plantar fasciitis he's dealing with in his left foot. Dan, that means that Brock Osweiler is the guy. The door is open, and Osweiler gets his chance here in Chicago.
Well, he has all the physical tools. We just don't know how he will play today in his first NFL start. Head coach Gary Kubiak says the offense will not change and that the goal is to get Osweiler comfortable early by running the ball and playing fast. And when I asked Brock if he got any advice from Manning, he said, Peyton said, tongue-in-cheek, stay warm, but also trust your legs. Put pressure on the Bears by running if and when you have to.
Interesting that you mentioned running, because Gary Kubiak made the point that no matter who's in at quarterback for this squad, they've got to get the running game going. It's been a problem for Denver.
It certainly has. The rushing attack has been lost during the current two-game losing streak. Neither Ronnie Hillman nor C.J. Anderson have produced in the last two games. And for the season, each have just one 100-yard game. But when you have to use 7 different offensive linemen, you don't have the continuity to be successful running the ball or protecting the quarterback. But once what's formidable is now futile, and it must improve today for Osweiler to have any chance at all to beat the Bears.
So many additional storylines with this game, including John Fox, who was the head coach of the Denver Broncos for 4 years, led them to 4 division titles. They parted ways during the offseason. Fox is now the head coach with the Bears, changing a culture, and with that culture change, an improvement in offense, improvement from Jay Cutler. What's the focus for Cutler?
Well, the focus today is he knows what he has in that huddle, and tight end Martellus Bennett leads the Bears with 46 receptions. The other tight end, Zach Miller, finally healthy and producing big time. 3 TD catches in his last 2 games. And the rookie running back, Langford, has capably filled in for the injured Matt Forte. He leads the Bears with 5 touchdowns, and as a result, Jay Cutler has 3 game-winning drives this year, which is tied for second most in the NFL.
And the connection between offensive coordinator Adam Gase, who used to be with Denver, and Jay Cutler, that has been obvious.
Well, they've known each other for a long time, and that message that Jay has for that he gets from Gase is, I love your competitive, how you want to win every drill at every practice, how hard you've improved your ball security, and how well the team responds to your leadership. And oh yeah, it's okay to have some fun.
A lot of big names missing action today. Manning, Sanders is out, Ware is out for Denver. No Forte, no Jeffrey, Antrell Roll a scratch, and Eddie Royal as well for Chicago. Time for the tools for success, presented by Home Depot.
Well, the rookie running back Langford has taken full advantage of his opportunities in the last 2 weeks. Huge game last week against the Rams, 184 yards in total offense. And Demaryius Thomas has the catches and the yards, but only 1 touchdown catch in 9 games for Denver. The Broncos want to stay aggressive on defense, but they must cut down on their league-leading personal foul penalties, 21 so far in 9 games. Nobody knows the Broncos better than their former head coach, John Fox. The question is, which team will benefit more from this very unique situation?
It is the 15th all-time meeting between the Broncos and the Bears. Countdown to kickoff continues. The NFL on CBS, Week 11 from Soldier Field. is Super Bowl 50. We join you today from Chicago, the Broncos and the Bears. Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish where available using the SAP button on your television. The kickoff is next. Clear and cold here at Soldier Field. The Broncos and the Bears moments away from the opening kick. Let's bring in the third member of our crew. It's Evan Washburn.
And sunny today, but a snowstorm rocked this region yesterday, and it wreaked havoc with travel. The Broncos team charter was delayed 2 hours. Most commercial flights coming out of Denver were canceled, including that of John and Kathy Osweiler. So they hopped in a car and made the 16-hour, 1,000-mile drive from Denver to Chicago, arrived here 2:30 this morning. I spoke to them on the sideline. They said nothing was going to keep them from making Brock's first NFL start. And they're from Montana, they said. Everything's a long drive, guys.
Yeah, that's a long one. That's dedication.
Well, and it's his birthday, so why not? You know, they had to bring the cake somehow.
It melted, Dan. I hate to break it to you. Brock Osweiler, he's going to have to wait to get his shot because Denver won the toss and deferred to the second half. So Chicago will receive. Brandon McManus gets us started in Chicago. Deontay Thompson, the return man, is going to take it out of the end zone for the Bears. Thompson crossing the 20-yard line, and he's brought down just shy of the 25 by Kayvon Webster on special teams. Jay Cutler coming off one of the best performances of his 10-year career last week. 37-13 win in St. Louis. Mistake-free football for Cutler.
Yeah, I told us yesterday he would prefer to never huddle up. He says his teammates operate better when they go right to the line of scrimmage, and by doing so, defensively, it eliminates some of the unusual looks he'll get today from Denver.
Well, here's a look for Chicago right out of the gate. 3 tight ends, Bennett, Miller, and Lee for the Bears. It's a handoff. Langford stepping in for the injured Matt Forte. Langford will pick up 4 with forward progress. Hit by Von Miller of the Broncos. Starting offense for Chicago, it is the return of the rookie Hronis Grasu from Oregon. He missed the last 3 games with a neck injury, so Slauson shifts back over to left guard. Jeremy Langford, what a 2-game stretch he has put together with Matt Forte sitting this one out once again. Forte sprained right knee. He has now missed 3 straight games for the Bears. Langford, the rookie out of Michigan State. Bootleg, Cutler throws it into the ground, and maybe that's a big difference in Cutler as well, just accepting defeat at times and not taking a risk downfield. Pressure from Shaquille Barrett. Defensively, Denver's leading the NFL in sacks. Sylvester Williams had 1 last week in a 29-13 loss to Kansas City. Linebackers, Barrett stepping in for DeMarcus Ware. Ware missing his 2nd straight game, aggravating that back injury. And in the secondary, Aqib Talib is back. He served a 1-game suspension last week for poking Indianapolis tight end Dwayne Allen in the eye a couple of weeks ago. 3 receiver set on a 3rd and 6. Cutler looking to run. And Cutler's got a chance at the first down. Very close for Cutler. Bradley Roby was right at the sticks.
And it's a moment of truth, too, for Cutler, because he knows he has to go head first to pick up this first down. And at this moment right here, he splits the tacklers and gets really close enough to bring out the chains.
So a measurement here on the first possession of the day for Chicago. Bears have won 4 of their last 6 games after starting the season 0-3. They're trying to get themselves back into the wild card race. Well, it's 4th down, and they're short. John Fox going against his former team. Fans were looking for an aggressive call, and Fox is not going to do it. They're going to punt.
Just a little early to even think about it. 13:59 to go in the first quarter. But 2 good decisions by Cutler. The screen pass to Miller was covered well, so he threw it away, and then he couldn't find anybody on 3rd down and came within inches of picking up the first down.
So Pat O'Donnell will punt it. Omar Bolden is the return man. Has a touchdown this season, 83 yards on a punt return. O'Donnell comes in averaging 46.3 yards per kick. Now in his 2nd year out of Miami. Snapper is Thomas Gafford. On 4th and less than a yard. The punt from O'Donnell. Ranging over is Bolden. And a short punt. It'll settle in at the 26-yard line, and that's where the Broncos will open up after the 41-yard kick. Brock Osweiler. He has waited his turn. This will be his first career NFL start. In fact, his first quarter snap of his NFL career. And Osweiler
making friends right away. That's always important to get the referee on your side for those questionable roughing the passer calls. You know, he told us yesterday he's learned a lot, obviously, from watching Peyton. And he wishes he was here to bounce some things off of, but he knows Peyton is in his corner today, and important that Peyton gets healthy soon.
Well, he just got to meet Pete Morelli with a nice handshake to open things up. Handoff. Ronnie Hillman going up the middle, limited to a 3-yard pickup here for Denver. Starting offense for the Broncos, Ryan Harris got a big job today protecting the blind side of Osweiler. You'll see Tyler Columbus in there as well. They mix and match on that offensive line. As mentioned, no Emmanuel Sanders. Sanders out with an ankle injury. So Cody Latimer getting a chance, second year out of Indiana. Demaryius Thomas, the short completion by Osweiler. It's a 7-yard gain. Defensively for Chicago, John Fox has been very high on his rookie out of Florida State. Eddie Goldman, rock solid and stout on that 3-4 set. Pernell McPhee returns. McPhee inactive last week with a left knee injury, and in the secondary, no Antrell Roll. They'll miss his leadership. Chris Krasinski gets the start, former Jaguar and Eagle. Running play. It's Hillman. The speed down the sideline, and Ronnie Hillman getting to the edge. Vernon Davis with a key block. That's a 15-yard rip for Hillman.
Well, watch Hillman come up here and then bounce it to the outside using his speed. Last week, 11 carries for just 42 yards. This is a perfect start, as you said, and picking up 15. Get the ball all the way into Bear territory. A little bit of holding there on Sam Acho, not called.
Line of scrimmage is the 49. Stepping up, Osweiler wide open. Demaryius Thomas, nobody near him. Thomas remains upright down the sideline, looking for the angle. Thomas takes it all the way. Touchdown, Broncos. Chris Krasinski whiffed, and Demaryius Thomas did the rest. Brock Osweiler with the hookup.
Krasinski filling in for Antrell Roll, who was downgraded yesterday, but how wide open can a guy get here? Good pass protection, and now the run after the catch. Here's the missed tackle there, and now the speed of Thomas. Tightrope in the chalk down and getting in for the touchdown.
Oh, that was tight. Demaryius Thomas, 48 yards. That's the longest play of the season for Thomas. And Dan, you mentioned it right at the top of our broadcast. Just one touchdown this season for the perennial Pro Bowler Thomas.
And he's got 2 catches on this opening drive. A smart little screen pass to start it off where he picked up yardage.
And happy birthday, Brock Osweiler, because that was a gift from his wide receiver doing the work.
And the Bears secondary as well.
7-0 Denver. Osweiler to Thomas to get things started for the Broncos, trying to get back on the winning track. First quarter action continues after this from Chicago. Last week in the first half, Denver had 40 total yards against Kansas City. Today on the first drive, 74 yards. It's the first opening drive touchdown for Denver in its last 14 games. Deontay Thompson, the return man, hit from the side as he just crossed the 20-yard line, and not a bad way for Brock Osweiler to start things off in his first career start.
Let's go back to the touchdown. Demaryius Thomas is right here, but watch the 2 linebackers, McClellan and Jones. They're going to not drop back to get into coverage here, and watch how Thomas breaks wide open. The missed tackle and then the strength and speed and balance down the sidelines, and the Broncos are off to a great start for a new quarterback.
The Bears playing without Alshon Jeffrey and no Eddie Royal today. So 2 weapons in the passing game that Cutler does not have it at his disposal. Langford gets the call. It's a 2-yard pickup for Langford going up the gut. And the hit by Sylvester Williams. T.J. Ward helping out as well defensively. It's 2nd and long now for the Bears.
And because of the injury to Jeffrey and the fact that the tight ends have been effective, and now you've got Langford split out wide. Expect him to get a lot of balls today along with the 2 tight ends.
Bears will go empty on a 2nd and 8. A lot of different looks offensively they'll show you because of the changes they've had to make and adjustments. Cutler gets rid of it. It's complete. Getting a step. Zach Miller, big play tight end. Miller has got a first down. That's 21 yards on the catch and run. Last week had an 87-yard touchdown reception for Chicago.
And the coverage is really good this time for the Broncos by Darian Stewart, but the ball thrown perfectly, and then getting out into the secondary is Miller. And the Bears have their first positive play on offense.
Questions as to whether or not Miller would be physically capable of playing in the NFL because of all the injuries he's had. He's put together his best season as a pro, now in his 6th year out of Nebraska, Omaha.
And again, 3 tight ends as Miller lines up at the fullback position.
No first down for Chicago. Running play. Langford cuts it inside and picks up 3 yards. Langford, we asked him about sitting behind Forte and waiting his turn. He said, I know a little something about that. I had to sit behind Le'Veon Bell at Michigan State, so I learned about patience.
Yeah, he was prepared for this. He's very similar with his skill set to Matt Forte. Both are excellent receivers. In fact, Langford played some wide receiver, waiting for his chances at Michigan State.
And Michigan State continues to crank out running backs. 2nd and 7. Langford running into a crowd, and he is thrown down. Forward progress, a gain of 1, but Derek Wolfe was right there, along with the rest of the Denver defense prepared in the run game.
Well, this is going to be a challenge for the Bears today. This is as good a defense and as prideful a defense as there is in the NFL. Wade Phillips has done a great job getting them to play fast without having to think too much.
They're ranked number 1 overall team defense, allowing 277 yards per game. Number 3 in points allowed, 18.7 per game, but it's been a problem the last 2 weeks, including giving up 29 last week to KC. In stride, Cutler is on time, and it's Mark Mariani. Just his 4th catch of the season. Mariani known more for his return skills, which have been lacking a bit this year. That's a 10-yard pickup. They'll move the chains.
Well, that little quick move up the field and then across the middle will beat Chris Harris Jr. And Cutler right on target. But Mariani has those quick twitch type of moves, and he has to because he's a punt returner and kick returner.
Well, the first play of the game, they had a 3 tight end set. They do it again here on first down now in Denver territory. Langford, nothing there. Broncos were prepared. Shaquille Barrett seeing a lot of time and getting a lot of experience because of that injury to DeMarcus Ware. Ware did not make the trip as well. Peyton Manning stayed in Denver along with Ware to receive treatment. Wade Phillips, 37th year as a coach in the NFL.
And players love playing for him. He keeps it fun and very interesting, and he's got a good group to work with now.
Wide receivers are Wilson and Bellamy. It's a spin move by Langford, and he is stood up for no gain. Brandon Marshall was all over it.
And right up the middle, Darius Kilgo is going to get penetration, and that causes Langford to try to bounce it outside, but you have got to hit the hole. If there's one there, you're not going to be able to outrun these linebackers of the Broncos.
Adam Gase, first year as the offensive coordinator for the Bears, came over with John Fox from Denver. 6 carries, 10 yards rushing for Langford. This is the 8th play of the drive on a 3rd and 9. Cutler steps up, trying to run, and he's spun down by Wolfe. Cutler could not break free. Jay Cutler going against his former team for the first time in his career. It's a loss of 2.
Yeah, Wolfe getting in there, and Cutler, seems like every time he goes back to pass, he's got pressure here in the first quarter. Not enough time to get one off that time.
Broncos came in leading the NFL in sacks with 32 this season. Wolf with his first of the year. O'Donnell, second punt. Bolden waiting for it at the 10-yard line of Denver. Settling under it, fair catch called for, and they'll open up just shy of the 12 after the 32-yard punt. Osweiler already has a touchdown in his first NFL start. The Broncos looking for more when we come back to Soldier Field.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. And by Verizon. Watch live primetime games with NFL Mobile only on Verizon.
Broncos hold a 3-game lead over Oakland and Kansas City in the AFC West. Running play on first down, it's Ronnie Hillman. Everybody talks about how terrific an athlete Brock Osweiler is. In fact, originally he was supposed to play basketball at Gonzaga. This is part of his recruiting tape. Flathead High School in Kalispell, Montana. He committed to Gonzaga after his sophomore year of high school, but he then decided that football was really his passion. He ended up at Arizona State. Osweiler is sacked, rejected. Willie Young. A loss of 8 on the play. The Bears bringing the heat.
Yeah, 91, Eddie Goldman. There's Willie Young off the side. The two of them may share that sack. That's just the 16th sack of the season for the Bears, but this is exactly what the Bears defense needed after the Broncos went down on their first drive to get 7.
The Bears 26th in the NFL in team sacks. This is a 3rd and 12 now for Denver. C.J. Anderson is in. They'll give it to him. Anderson looking for a lane. Accelerates. Anderson is stood up, and he's able to keep the legs churning. It should be enough for a first down. Terrific effort by Anderson. 13-yard gain. NFL Today update. JB, Tony Gonzalez in New York.
Washington answers back.
Yes, they do right here. You can see Kirk Cousins. He drops back. He's going to hit Deshaun Jackson. Gets behind that vaunted Carolina defense. He takes it the rest of the way. 56 yards for the touchdown. We are all knotted up in that first quarter.
Back to Iron Eagle. Dan Fouts and Evan Washburn.
Well, to think, guys, first of all, Carolina looking to remain undefeated. But what if Deshaun Jackson had been healthy throughout the year, the hamstring injury in the season opener? Off the play action, Green on the receiving end of that pass from Osweiler. And Denver, once again, he is on the move with Bryce Callahan back there defensively to wrap him up.
The one thing you notice with Osweiler on the rollout is how quickly he gets out of the pocket and gets his head turned around down the field. Wide open is Green across the middle. That's his 9th catch of the season, but the athleticism is on display there by Osweiler.
Back to the ground game. It's Hillman. Picks up 4 yards as the pile was pushed. Good enough for a first down. With NFL Mobile, watch local and primetime NFL games live on your smartphone. Learn more at NFL.com/mobile. We asked Gary Kubiak about Osweiler as Ronnie Hillman heads to the sideline. C.J. Anderson will replace him. Kubiak said he's come up the old school way. He's been here 4 years. He's watched Peyton Manning prepare. He understands what it takes. It's a give for Anderson to the outside. Anderson veers to the sideline out across the 45. It's an 8-yard pickup. So Kubiak and the rest of the team very confident and comfortable with Osweiler handling this playbook. And what has the message been? Everything is in play on that call sheet.
Well, he's been practicing. Obviously, Peyton has not been able to practice fully for, most of this year and a lot of last year. Take Wednesdays off, so Osweiler got a lot of reps in the offense.
On a 2nd and 2, Anderson engulfed. Callahan combining with McPhee to bring down Anderson. And Callahan has an issue with his right hand. Callahan is pointing and heading to the Chicago sideline.
Yeah, he may have a finger out of place there. He's sitting down on the field, which I don't understand at all. You're a foot or two away from being off the field, so they don't have to stop the game here on this third down and medium coming up.
They are looking at the right arm of Callahan. Thursday, December 3rd, your weekend starts here. NFC North rivalry, the Packers and the Lions, Thursday night football only on CBS and NFL Network. Callahan got up on his own and made his way to the Chicago sideline. Osweiler operating out of the gun on a 3rd and 4. Excellent throw. And it's Vernon Davis, acquired in a deal with San Francisco. Davis has been looking for a bigger role in this offense. Last week, 35 snaps, just 2 catches. He gets the grab here.
And a good read by Osweiler. Saw that the coverage was by the linebacker, Christian Jones there. Check that. That's Jonathan Anderson, and Vernon Davis with great speed and quickness got to the inside. And it's not going to be this easy. Is it for Osweiler? 4 for 4 and a touchdown?
180! What's up?
Callahan on the sideline, replaced by Alan Ball. Ronnie Hillman is back. Hillman trying to loop to the outside, and he takes a shot. Kyle Fuller in run support. No gain on the play.
Yeah, former Bronco Mitch Unrein is going to get a face full of stiff arm here. Right to the shoulder, strength by Hillman. Remember, he went off the field just a short time ago.
So the Denver offense has produced 117 yards in this first quarter. Take play of the drive. Osweiler in trouble. Flag is down. He got hit from behind by Mitch Unrein. But a penalty marker, and it's going to be the first penalty of the afternoon.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, number 79, offense. 15-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
Michael Schofield, the second-year offensive lineman out of Michigan, is called on the penalty. Well, for Gary Kubiak, seeing this offense get going has been a major focal point. And that running game, as we talked about earlier, has been non-existent the last couple of weeks. So far, Hillman 30 yards on the ground, Anderson with 19, so they've established something with that running attack. Another running play to Anderson, little shake and bake move up the middle across the 45 for 7 yards.
And you go back to that time where they were 3rd and 12, and they gave the ball to Anderson, and he picked up 13, so it gives you a pretty good idea of how much emphasis they have put on the running attack in practice.
They're 29th in the NFL in rushing. Now, that's not Gary Kubiak offense.
Well, remember, Gary Kubiak, when he was in Houston, had to get to work with Arian Foster. Great job.
Last year, Justin Forsett, where the Baltimore Ravens had his best year with Kubiak calling the plays. Shotgun, 3rd and 18. Osweiler goes down. Bruce Gaston. Osweiler's a big target at 6'8". The tallest quarterback to start an NFL game, along with Dan McGuire, who did it with the Seattle Seahawks, younger brother of Mark McGuire.
Good coverage in the secondary that time as Gaston picks up his first NFL sack.
This is the end of the first.
End of the first. Denver 7, Chicago nothing. We'll come back to Soldier Field after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Available now. And by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days.
Look at the Shed Aquarium right next door to Soldier Field, opened in 1930. This whole area is impressive, the near south side. You just feel cultured, Dan, walking around the museum just down the way.
Yeah, I feel really cultured. It's amazing.
You're like a different guy.
Transformation. Love it.
4th down. The punt from Colquitt. Mark Mariani, the return man. This one's going to bounce and take a Denver roll inside the 15. 46-yard punt from Colquitt. Cutler and the Bears offense back on the field when we come back. Jay Cutler has had 5 different offensive coordinators in his 7 years with Chicago. On first down, it's a running play. Kadeem Carey. Good acceleration from the second-year running back out of Arizona. Takes a shot from T.J. Ward. First couple of games, it was a struggle for Cutler and for the Bears offense. Had that hamstring injury week 3, and since that point, he is on one of the best stretches of his NFL career.
Well, he's had so many offensive coordinators in his career. He's finally comfortable with Gase, and the two of them hit it off a long time ago, and it has continued because Gase has so many great ideas.
And again, it's Carey once again. Cutler first met Gase when he was coming out of the draft. He was having an interview with the Detroit Lions. Gase picked him up at the airport, drove him to the facility. They sat down, had lunch with Mike Martz, and at that point, even though he wasn't selected by Detroit, he and Gase stayed in contact. They crossed paths together for 2 months in Denver before Cutler was traded. Josh McDaniels made the decision to trade him to Chicago, and Cutler said to Gase, hey, I want to work with you. Finally, the two worlds came together. Cutler has the protection. Guns. Low throw. Martellus Bennett going downstairs to grab it for a pickup of 9.
Well, a lot of time to throw for Cutler this time as he sees Miller get double teamed on the cut route inside, and trailing right behind him is going to be Bennett. And Bennett with a little bump there fights through that. This is a big tight end too. 6'6", 275. He told me he has 8% body fat, just like you, Ryan.
I'm down to 7, Dad, so we're going to have to change the numbers. Up the middle, Carey's got a first down. Just across the 40, we get an NFL Today update. JB, Tony G.
Keep the fullback happy.
Yeah, watch this, guys, right here. This is how you do it. You get somebody wide open like this, nobody around him, bust on the defense. Patrick DeMarco, 15 yards for the touchdown. Atlanta takes the lead, 7-0.
Ian and Dan.
All right, thanks very much, guys. 7-0 here as well, with Denver on top of Chicago. Bears have a drive working. Dean Carey getting the carries on this possession. And he picks up just a yard on the play. Brandon Marshall toppled him over.
Now, that's the first time on this drive that the Broncos have been able to stop Kadeem Carey. Good combination there. Carey, a tough runner, taking advantage of his opportunities now as he will alternate with Langford throughout the ballgame.
6th play of the drive. When we asked Cutler about Gase, he said he's very open-minded. He takes his ego out of the equation. He's an excellent play caller, and he understands the best plays for the situation that we're in. The plays that Cutler likes to run. 2nd and 9. Like that one. Down the field, Marquise Wilson. Forced out of bounds by Ward. 7th-round draft pick in 2013, and a tall target at 6'4", 199, 29-yard hookup.
Yeah, he had 1 catch last week against the Rams for 1 yard. This one, he's wide open in the secondary. T.J. Ward from his strong safety spot late.
It's a handoff to Carey, and there's nothing there. Once again, 1-yard gain. Trevathan and Darius Kilgo combined to bring him down. Trevathan told us that the defense knows they've taken a couple of steps backwards the last 2 weeks. He said guys have taken it upon themselves to be great. They want to be feared. The veterans are hungry. You combine that with the younger guys, it's been a special combination for Denver. Langford sets up as a receiver now, will shift and flank Cutler on a 2nd and 9. 10:50 to play in this first half. Fast-moving first half in Chicago. Cutler, clean pocket, over the middle, broken up. Bennett in a matchup with Ward, the 2-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, if this ball is out in front a little bit more to Bennett, he may score, but you can see the job that Ward comes and does is he comes over the top with the right hand to knock it away. but Bennett had to pause just a little bit as that ball was getting to him. But right now, the Broncos have no answer for the time that Cutler is getting to find receivers.
Bennett 6'6", T.J. Ward 5'10". Dime package here for Denver. 3rd and 9 for Chicago. 5 receivers set. From the gun. Here comes the rush. Cutler off his back foot. Throws it up for grabs. Incomplete. Double coverage on Langford, the intended receiver on the play, and it's 4th down.
Well, great pressure on a delayed blitz by T.J. Ward, and this is why this ball is hurriedly thrown and not able to adjust it to by Langford. But watch the hit here by T.J. Ward, a good legal hit, and that forced the ball to be just off target a bit.
Robbie Gould on for a 46-yard field goal attempt. He was 3 of 3 last week. He had missed 3 straight before last week. And his brother Chris is a special teams coaching intern with Denver. Gould knocks it through, and the Bears are on the board. 7-3, Denver in front. 10:32 to play, first half. Last Tuesday, Alshon Jeffrey and Bears teammates visited Captain James A. Lovell Federal Healthcare Center in Chicago. Got to spend some time with veterans and children whose parents are in the military. Jeffrey inactive today, dealing with a groin issue, hamstring, also had a calf injury in training camp. The Bears get 3 points off of that drive, and now Gould will kick things off to Omar Bolden, who's averaging 24.2 yards per return with a long of 41. Brock Osweiler is 4 for 4, 76 yards and a touchdown for Denver. The kick from Gould. Unreturnable. Denver will have it at the 20-yard line when we come back to Chicago. Tomorrow on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, catch Sylvester Stallone, and later in the week, Justin Bieber, plus Stephen's Thanksgiving celebration, only CBS. Osweiler, it's caught at the 25-yard line as he hooks up with Vernon Davis. How about last year, Dan? Brock Osweiler thought he was getting in the game against Oakland, gets the helmet, and no. Let's look at it from a different angle. No, it didn't happen for him. Peyton Manning remained in the game. Osweiler eventually got in, completed 2 of 5 passes for 13 yards.
That's the life of the backup, just a heartbeat away.
Call it a gain of 4 on a 2nd and 6 now. It's a give for Hillman. Hillman turns it upfield and brought down shy of the first down, hit by Willie Young. It's a 4-yard pickup. Let's get more right now from Evan Washburn.
Well, guys, just to give you an idea of what Brock Osweiler's like on this sideline, absolutely no shake, just supreme confidence. And that was the word when we talked to teammates and coaches. Confidence, preparation. He looks ready for this moment, fellas.
Evan, he was impressive when we sat down with him in the meeting. And look, you never know how it translates to the game. But he came across as a very confident guy and knew what he had to do.
Yeah, he had all the coach speak down perfectly, all the correct answers, politically and otherwise.
Timeout taken on a 3rd and 2 here in the second quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's, teaming up with the NFL like never before. State Farm. Find your agent at statefarm.com. And by National Mortgage Lender Quicken Loans. Home buy, refi, power.
After the Denver timeout, it's a 3rd and 2 for the Broncos. Movement on that left side.
False start.
Ryan
Number
Harris.
68 offense, 5-yard penalty remains, 3rd down.
Pass too. He didn't fire out. So he might have been one of those bootlegs for Osweiler, but we'll never know, will we?
Remember, Ryan Clady was lost to a torn ACL. They lost Ty Sambrilo to a shoulder injury, so it's Harris playing left tackle. Also, Max Garcia has been worked into the rotation. He's the rookie out of Florida. He spells Luis Vasquez. We could see Tyler Columbus at some point as well at tackle. Bryce Callahan is back in there at nickel for Chicago. It's now a 3rd and 7 for Denver. Osweiler fires, incomplete. Owen Daniels off his hands. 4th down for the Broncos.
Yeah, just slightly thrown behind Owen Daniels as he gets into the zone here between the defensive backs. Fortunate for Denver, this ball isn't picked off because once it goes up in the air after the deflection, there's so many dark blue shirts around it that it went to the ground.
Colquitt on to punt it. Mariani waiting at the 32. Again, a short punt. Mariani gets out of the way, and Denver fortunate that it does take a Bronco roll to the 31. It's a 35-yard punt for the Broncos. Jay Cutler. Everything lining up correctly for Cutler this season with the new coaching staff. Can he lead Chicago to another win? Week 11 continues later today on Fox. Then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tune in tomorrow, Monday Night Football on ESPN. Bears take over 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard line. 7-3 lead for Denver, 9-10 mark of the second quarter. Kavim Carey is in there. Carey caught down low by Trevathan. It's a 5-yard gain. Well, John Fox, in his first year as the head coach of the Bears, previous 4 years with Denver, he's downplayed the revenge factor throughout the week, but you know how badly he wants to win. And even the Bronco players talked about how he would have his team ready to go in this game.
Well, so much respect for Fox. He's a player coach that does not sugarcoat things. Very honest, forward, and gets the results.
2nd and 5. Carey gets banged down after a gain of about 2. Also, that other angle, Dan, the familiarity that Fox and Gase have with the Broncos personnel. You buy that? Is that overblown when players and coaches change teams like they do in the NFL? Cutler steps up, throws the deep ball. Oh, separation! Josh Bellamy lost his footing. And he's thrown down inside the 25.
Boy, this is 2 times now that the Bears have been wide open deep in the Broncos secondary. It took Cutler a while to find him. He couldn't really set his feet, or this would have been a touchdown, but he got it down the field to Bellamy, who hauls it in and sets up the Bears after that 38-yarder.
Line of scrimmage is now the 24. Give it to Carey. Brought down immediately by T.J. Ward for no gain on the play. NFL Today update. JB and Tony in New York.
Falcons doing their best to snap a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, and how about that? They're doing it with the fullback. Patrick DeMarco catches his second touchdown pass of the day. 14-0 over Indy in the second quarter.
Somebody did their homework, huh? Back to Ian.
Yeah, I don't know if Indianapolis did their homework in the scouting report on DeMarco. 2 touchdowns for the fullback. 2nd and 10. Cutler steps up underneath. And Cutler makes the connection with Josh Bellamy. Yeah, just back to that Fox and Gase angle.
Well, the thing is that you know their weaknesses more than anything. Things that make them uncomfortable.
Yeah. What
type of coverages they have trouble with. If they're a quick twitch guy, if they're slow in rotating their hips, all those little nuances that go in that can come in handy during a ballgame, especially in crunch time.
You know, there's so much film now in the NFL. Yeah. Everybody knows everybody. You can see whatever you want to see, play after play after play. But as you just alluded to, behind the scenes, the nuances, what makes a guy tick. That's where you could have a difference. 3rd and 5. Cutler. The floater comes up short.
Well, that's twice now, Ian, that T.J. Ward has come on the blitz and caused an incompletion. And he hit Cutler pretty good this time. Forced that poor throw. I mean, watch number 43, totally unblocked, and a sprint to the quarterback. And Cutler unable to step into that throw will force a field goal try.
The intended receiver, Zach Miller, on the play. So Robbie Gould on for a 37-yard attempt. Gould has been so consistent through the years, now in his 11th season in the NFL. From 37 yards away, curls it through. That cuts into the Denver lead. It's now 7-6 Broncos. Second quarter action.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fruit of the Loom. They test their products so you know they work. And by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
The Chicago Bears with a chance to claw back to the 500 mark. They enter action at 4-5, 3 games behind Minnesota in the NFC North. Trying to make a postseason push. With a new coach, new GM as well, Ryan Pace, who worked in the Saints front office for 14 years, played defensive end at Eastern Illinois. Just a new vibe and feeling around this Bears organization.
And especially with Fox, I mean, this is the third time around for him as a head coach, and he's learned to just trust his own instincts, draw his own conclusions about players. He knows about reputations from around the league that they may not be a good guy, and they end up being the captain of the team with Fox. So he doesn't trust a lot of scouting reports about people, trusts his own gut feeling.
He said this is probably the best staff he's ever assembled. Great relationship with the personnel staff as well. And they've hit on young players. That's been a big key. These young guys are contributing, key contributors, with Adrian Amos and Eddie Goldman, Jeremy Langford. Bears have played good football. Gould the kickoff. Golden the return man. I think he lost it in the sun. This ball bounced out of the end zone. Driven backwards. Forward progress will mark him down at the 2. What a shot from Sherrod Martin downfield on special teams.
Just a huge mistake here by Omar Bolden, letting the ball bounce first. A lot of guys would have taken that one out of the end zone, but the backup on the ball, the little bite there, puts it back into play, and Bolden is in big trouble.
Injury on the play.
That might be Bolden.
It is Bolden. The kick from Gould. Normally those balls do bounce and then continue through the back of the end zone. This one went the other way, and it took Bolden by surprise. He's up on his feet. Broncos are pinned deep in their own territory with a 7-6 lead on Chicago. 6:09 to play in the second quarter. Ronnie Hillman is in there trying to create some extra space for the offense. And Hillman is pushing and shoving. Garcia involved. A 2-yard pickup. They separate. Garcia with Christian Jones on the play.
Well, the ball bounced really crazy for Bolden here, but he's about 7 yards deep in the end zone. The ball hits it about 4 yards deep, and he realizes it then that the ball is backing up on him, and he's in big trouble. Normally you would see a ball kick that short, returned, and brought out of the end zone.
2nd and 8. Denver missing one of its big play guys. Emmanuel Sanders is out. Osweiler, risky play. Osweiler, incomplete. On the rollout, throwing out of his own end zone. The pressure from McClellan and Lamar Houston.
Now, Lamar Houston is a great pass rusher. He's got 4 sacks on the year. Here's McClellan from his inside linebacker spot with a good burst there to get to Osweiler and force that throwaway. John Fox saying there was no receiver in the area, and that should have been intentional grounding. Pete Morelli did not see it that way.
It's a 3rd and 8. Osweiler in his first NFL start. Denver leads at 7-6. Osweiler airing out a deep ball. Nobody home. Demaryius Thomas, the intended receiver. Tracy Porter, a Super Bowl standout with New Orleans. over there defensively for Chicago.
He could not have had better coverage, stride for stride, and also pinching Thomas to the sidelines. The only hope that Thomas had was to catch this ball and maybe go out of bounds. That's just great coverage.
Osweiler opened up 5 of 5. He is 0 of his last 3. And Colquitt in a tough position. Mariani, the return man, brings it in cleanly. And Chicago will open up on Denver's side of the field after the 43-yard punt from Colquitt. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower. NFL scores and highlights in the climate-controlled studio in New York. All coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
It's a little nippy here.
Well, a little bit chilly.
Evan Washburn has blue lips on the sidelines.
He also has 7 layers.
And no hat.
Oh, the hair.
Great hair.
Impressive hair. 1st and 10 from the 49. Langford in there. Cutler on a give for Langford. Trying to get him going. It's been Carey that's been the more effective of the two. It's a yard and a half or so for Jeremy Langford. Malik Jackson in on the stop.
I think when you look at the different styles between Kadeem Carey and Jeremy Langford, Langford more of a hunt and peck type of runner, whereas Carey says, the heck with that, I'm going to put my head down and get what I can get full speed ahead.
Sylvester Williams, a little slow to get up for Denver. First round pick in 2013. 28th overall. A wide body at 6'2", 313. Manning the middle for the Broncos 3-4D.
You always talk about hidden yardage in a ball game. Well, that mistake by Bolden has given the Bears tremendous field position.
Well, no Matt Forte today. Forte still dealing with that right knee issue. He's missed 3 straight games. 5 1,000-yard rushing seasons in his career. A contract year for Forte. 2nd and 9, shotgun for Cutler. Rush is coming. Cutler, wobbly ball was tipped. Must have been tipped for it to come out that way. And it's now 3rd and 9. So they've gotten the offense from Langford the last couple of weeks, but it's still a tall order considering the fingerprints that Forte has on this offense for Chicago.
Now, Forte has rushed for 43 touchdowns in his career, caught 17 touchdown passes, as versatile a back as there is in the NFL.
2nd all-time leading rusher in Bears history.
And that's saying a lot.
A lot. 3rd and 9. Out of the gun. Cutler. Big hit on the catch made. Meredith gets stamped by Bruton.
He's short of the 1st down, and he's going to get a bruise. That will leave a mark by Bruton.
So the line of scrimmage is now the 42, and the Bears could do nothing with their excellent starting field position. Bolden is the deep man at the 10. Punt from Pat O'Donnell. Bolden fair catch. Now they'll have it at the 12-yard line. That's a 30-yard punt from O'Donnell. QB comparison, Osweiler got off to the hot start. He's missed on his last 3 throws. Jay Cutler is 7 of 12, 118 yards for the Bears.
Osweiler had been sacked twice back in the first quarter. And after that hot start, things have tightened up a little bit. But you got to give the Denver defense a lot of credit. After that mistake by Bolden and the short punt, Bears taking over with good field position, 3 and out for Wade Phillips' group.
Think about Brock Osweiler, and there's a lot going on in his life. He's replacing Peyton Manning, a legend.
Yeah.
It's his first NFL start. It's his 25th birthday. His parents' flight was canceled. They drive 14 hours from Denver to get here.
And don't even bring up his contract situation. This is a huge series of games for him.
Osweiler underneath. Hooks up with Hillman, trying to curl out of trouble, but McClellan was there to limit the damage. Only a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, but at least it's a completion. He hadn't had one in a while. He's got time to throw here. And interesting, he's so tall that the ball is actually sometimes going to these receivers on the way down. Good tackle by McClellan in space.
Luis Vasquez is back in there for Denver on that offensive line. Osweiler now 6 of 9. Daniels, the motion man. They'll run it to that side with Hillman busting through. Hillman hit from behind. He's got a first down. Christian Jones had a chance to bring him down initially, and then Hillman shoots the gap for 11.
You see Vasquez and Schofield out in front, along with Owen Daniels. A lot of power there on that stretch run play.
So Hillman heads to the Denver sideline, try to stay warm. Last week they had only 69 rushing yards. In the game against Kansas City, they have 74 in the first half today. Hillman's got 48 himself. C.J. Anderson is in. You fake it? Oh, the rush is coming. Osweiler gets rid of it. Osweiler to Daniels. And Daniels secures the football and is brought down just short of the 35 by Adrian Amos.
And that's a perfect call for the blitz. It was a play action pass back to the tight end. He had blockers out in front, and he powered forward for the first down.
Brock Osweiler, in his first NFL start, got out of the gates quickly with that touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas. Things have slowed down a bit. Denver looking to get things going on offense. Osweiler, a low throw. Vernon Davis with the hands. And a clean catch at the 50 with a penalty marker down at the 47.
And it's going to be holding against the Bears in the secondary on Owen Daniels.
Holding, number 59 defense. Penalty will be declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Well, there are many Osweilers here. It's multiple Osweilers. John, Kathy, his parents, his wife, Erin. What a great day. Just a great day for that family. And Brock getting this opportunity. Really had the one full year as a starter at Arizona State. Intriguing prospect that John Elway believed in. Underneath, Demaryius Thomas. Adrian Amos is there, the rookie out of Penn State. Excellent athlete, 5th-round draft pick, handles Thomas on the sideline, 3-yard pickup.
And having played at Arizona State, I asked him about, playing in the cold weather. He says, no problem. Grew up in Montana, dude. But that's been a few years, but he's handling things very well here. This is the situation, though, that really tests a young quarterback. How do you perform in the hurry-up offense? When you got to get down the field, get some points before halftime. But so far, he's avoided the one thing that plagues so many young quarterbacks, and that's turnovers.
Well, this is what they call the Reno, which is the pistol formation named after Chris Ault from Nevada. Osweiler's on time to Owen Daniels. They'll whistle him down at the 34. A 12-yard strike from Osweiler. McClellan and Acho there defensively.
Now watch the trajectory of the ball. It's literally going down to the receiver. Coming from a guy that's 6'8", the ball is being released a good foot above his head. But he's been on target, especially on this drive. Perfect, 5 for 5.
And the numbers look good overall. 10 of 13, 122 yards and the touchdown. Denver's on the move. Running play, Hillman. A dance from Hillman to pick up 2 yards, and we are under a minute to play now in this first half. Lamar Houston will get credit for the stop.
Now this is where he might want to be thinking about a little more urgency. 2 timeouts here, a lot of time going off the clock.
This is his first start since December 22nd, 2011, the Mako Bowl with Arizona State. They lost to Boise State. Osweiler lets it fly. And working the perimeter to Latimer. Osweiler said he and Latimer have bonded on the scout team, working together day in and day out. He said Latimer has made the most out of every day at practice. He's a true pro.
Yeah, good adjustment by both quarterback and receiver there with the coverage inside. Denver now moving down close to the red zone, but Osweiler really sharp on this drive.
And spreading it out, Dan. 6 different receivers that he's gotten involved in the passing game. 6 straight completions for Osweiler. Working out of the gun. Osweiler, check it down. C.J. Anderson scampers towards the sideline, and the clock stops with 24 seconds left. That's a 1-yard pickup for Denver. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower. Scores and highlights all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
You just got to wonder about this Bear defense right now, playing very conservative. You wonder when you're going to dial up a blitz here on 2nd and long. You might expect one here.
And playing without Antrell Roll, out with knee and ankle issues. 2nd and 9 for Denver. 24 seconds left in the half. Osweiler steps up. Osweiler takes it to the outside and slides at the 15. That's a 5-yard pickup. We're down to 16 seconds left and a timeout called.
And see, they wasted so much time now that they got a crucial 3rd down coming up.
Out of Kalispell, Montana, Brock Osweiler grew up 8 hours from Seattle, 4 hours from Spokane. And he's leading Denver on an impressive drive. Late stages of the first half. 11th play of the drive. This is a 3rd and 4 with 16 seconds left. Osweiler in the pocket. Osweiler pulls the trigger and connects with Vernon Davis. 9 seconds left and a timeout used just short of the 5-yard line for the Broncos.
You talk about Vernon Davis and you always think about his athleticism. Osweiler looking at him the entire way here was a little crossing route, reverse pivot back to the outside, working on McClellan, and the Broncos get exactly what they need. Another chance to go into the end zone with one pass here. And with Demaryius Thomas, you would expect him to be double teamed. And on that play he was, and that allowed Brock Osweiler to just wait out his tight end, Vernon Davis, for that crucial 3rd down conversion.
So one shot here for Gary Kubiak's offense. You cannot absorb a sack. That's the one thing that Osweiler, the young quarterback, has to keep in his mind. They are out of timeouts.
Yeah, a sack, with not enough time to get the field goal team out there. So this is going to be a quick throw.
9 seconds left. Osweiler to the end zone. Incomplete. Thomas lost his footing along that sideline. 4 seconds remaining.
Well, the ball was thrown late, Ian, and plus it was thrown on a line. It never gave him a chance to out-jump the defender, Tracy Porter. Porter goes 5'11", Thomas 6'3", but that ball thrown, you can see the disappointment in Thomas's face.
So it's Brandon McManus on for a chip shot field goal attempt of 24 yards. 19 of 20 on the season. And he knocks it through. Denver's got a 10-6 lead at halftime. Brock Osweiler, 13 of 17, 144 yards and a touchdown, replacing Peyton Manning here today in Chicago. End of the first half, Denver in front. We'll come back. The Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Osweiler goes down. Bruce Gaston wide open. Demaryius Thomas, nobody near him. Thomas takes it all the way. Touchdown, Broncos. Getting ready for the start of the second half in Chicago. 10-6, the Broncos in front of the Bears. Now, who are you loving? Presented by McDonald's Game Time Gold. Osweiler to Thomas for the lone touchdown of the day.
Yeah, his second pass of the day. Both of them went to Thomas, but Thomas uses his athletic ability to take it 48 for the score.
Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts back here in the broadcast booth. Evan Washburn down on the sidelines. Well played first half. Limiting amount of the penalties between these two teams. Competitive. obviously Osweiler was the big headline coming in. What were your thoughts, and what did you see out of Osweiler in his first NFL start?
Well, what I really liked is at that 2-minute drive. He was 8 of 9 for 63 yards. The last pass he threw was really a throwaway. Didn't want to risk the interception. Error-free so far for Osweiler. He's been sacked twice, but that wasn't his fault. A couple of breakdowns in the front offensive line, but so far I give him a very high grade.
The numbers, just comparing them from last week to this week, the Denver Broncos have really picked it up. 81 rushing yards. They have established the run. The Bears, 159 yards of total offense for Chicago and Jay Cutler. This offense has improved. There's no doubt about it with Gase and the confidence that Cutler has shown. Have they been able to strike enough balance for you?
Well, they have the balance. They just don't have the production. They've had to settle for field goals, and you can't do that in the NFL. This game is so tight right now. Obviously, it's going to come down to a mistake, a turnover, a crucial penalty, and we'll just see how both quarterbacks handle the pressure.
Denver will have the football to open up this second half. Robbie Gould will kick it off for Chicago. Third quarter is underway with Golden. This time moving forward to receive it cleanly, and then takes a shot short of the 20-yard line by Sherrick McManus on special teams. Let's check in with Evan.
Juan, I spoke with both head coaches. Gary Kubiak pleased with how Brock Osweiler had handled the ebbs and flows of that first half. He feels like they need to protect him better. The 2 sacks, the 3 quarterback hits. As for John Fox, not much concern. He feels like if they execute offensively, obviously they'll see some more success. As for defensive concerns, he feels like they're playing well, just a few breakdowns in coverage.
All right, Evan, Denver opens up with a 1st and 10, and Osweiler firing on first down. Open man is Owen Daniels. Daniels to midfield on the throw from Osweiler. 31 yards for the Broncos.
Well, they start off with a play action. They've been running the ball well in the first half, so fake the run and then find a tight end wide open in the secondary. That looks like so much like when Daniels was with Matt Schaub in Houston. Deep crossing routes after play action to fakes to Foster, and another big game. Great way to start first play of the second half.
Now that was a big key in the preparation for Osweiler. Watching old Houston film. Osweiler gets crushed. Adrian Amos, his first career sack.
Well, we saw T.J. Ward have success with the delayed blitz. This one is really delayed. Still not in the picture. Still not in the picture. There he is, 38. Osweiler never saw him, and he goes down for the 3rd time, losing 7 yards this time. Finally, the Bears dial up some pressure. Vic Fangio going with a late safety blitz, paying off.
And a 2nd and 17. The sack numbers rising for Denver, allowing sacks. Hillman on a spin move, trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage. That's a 7-yard pickup for Hillman, hit by Christian Jones, 2nd-year linebacker from Florida State.
Really great balance and athletic ability to make that spin after getting hit, picking up a couple.
Sets up a 3rd and 10 now for Denver. In addition to that Houston film that he watched a lot of Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens from last year when Gary Kubiak was calling the plays for Baltimore. 3rd and 10. Rush is coming. Osweiler avoids it. Osweiler went down. He wasn't touched, though. And he's brought down. It'll go down as another sack for the Chicago D. Jarvis Jenkins among those there for the Bears.
Well, Peyton told him, trust your legs if you have to. And he was trying to get out of the pocket there. That stumble really cost him, though.
Colquitt to punt it. Mariani waiting for it at the 11-yard line for Chicago. Denver with a 10-6 lead. Colquitt gets rid of it cleanly. Mariani backpedals and a fair catch. Hauled in right around the 8. 43-yard punt. Tight one at Soldier Field. 10-6, Denver. Bears open up this drive at their own 9-yard line. Langford single setback. Langford getting down low and drives for a gain of 4, brought down by Trevathan. Denver's got a sizable lead in the AFC West, but Kansas City has been much improved in recent weeks. Chicago has gotten itself into the conversation thanks to 4 wins in their last 6 games. 2nd and 6 for the Bears. Bennett will shift out of the backfield and set up as a receiver in a matchup with T.J. Ward. On 2nd down, Cutler throws it. Ward goes down, but it was over the head of Bennett.
It went right through his hands. This was not that difficult a catch. Just going to overpower Ward here. And then right through the fingertips.
Cutler is now 7 of 13, 118 yards.
Sound like an old quarterback, didn't it?
A little bit. A little bit. I mean, some with a different perspective might say a high throw.
I should have had it.
3rd and 6 now for the Bears. Cutler has Langford set up off to the side. Play clock down to 1. They get the snap ball. Set it up. Langford spins away. And could not get to the line to gain. T.J. Ward snuffs him out. It was Marshall who could not bring him down initially, and it's 4th down for the Bears.
And Ward had to come from a long way away. Look at 43 in the middle of the field here. There's the spin away from Marshall, and now Ward with great speed and power to drive Langford out of bounds.
T.J. Ward, big hitter in his 2nd year with the Broncos, came over as a free agent from Cleveland, signing a 4-year, $23 million deal. The punt from O'Donnell. Bolden standing at his own 35-yard line. Off the side of the foot. And Denver's going to have outstanding field position at the 10:31 mark of the 3rd. Just shy of midfield. That's where the Broncos take over. They've got a 10-6 lead, a 33-yard punt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. Applebee's. Taste the change. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Brock Osweiler and the Denver Broncos at the 48-yard line with a 10-6 advantage. 10:31 to go in the 3rd quarter. Daniels the motion man for Denver. Running play, it's Hillman. Busting it to the outside, and Hillman gets an angle and turns it into a solid gain on 1st down of 6 yards. Shea McClellan with a tackle for Chicago. Ronnie Hillman, he's been more of a change of pace back for the Broncos in previous years, but now he's become the featured back. C.J. Anderson was ineffective, and Hillman's won the starting job. 11 carries, 63 yards for Hillman in his 4th year from San Diego State. 2nd and 4. Keep it on the ground. Hillman takes a hit and comes up short of a 1st down. It's a 3-yard pickup. Christian Jones involved in the stop for the Bears.
And Denver, led by Osweiler, 3 of 7, converting 3rd downs. Important that they take advantage of this to at least get into field goal range. But take advantage of this great field position after the poor punt by O'Donnell.
It's a 3rd and 1 for Denver. Osweiler to throw. Short throw, knocked away. He tried to squeeze it into Thomas, and it's Kyle Fuller, talented 2nd-year corner, the number 14 pick in the 2014 draft out of Virginia Tech.
And that's a big body to get around, but he does it. He secures what might have been a reception if the ball is caught with the left hand, then comes out with the right hand to knock it away. That's a big play by Fuller, but again, the ball on a downward trajectory from the tall Osweiler.
Cole quick to punt it. Mariani at the 8, so no damage done after the poor O'Donnell kick. Mariani, fair catch. And he hauls it in. At the 10, 33-yard punt. Osweiler learning what it'd be to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. His team leads in the third. Jay Cutler picked apart the St. Louis defense last week. 3 touchdowns in that 37-13 victory going against the #1 defense in the NFL today. Cutler out of the pocket. Cutler brought down as he crosses the 15-yard line by Shaquille Barrett. 6-yard run for Cutler. Tomorrow on CBS, Supergirl flies into action to save her city. It's a new Supergirl tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, only CBS.
Cutler has a real good feel for pressure in the pocket, escaping that time. He's only been sacked 12 times on the year, and 1 time today.
2nd and 4 now for Chicago. Bennett goes in motion. Carey, the running back. Dean Carey lost the football at the end of the play. 5-yard pickup for Carey. Denver believes they've got it. Was the play whistle dead is the question.
Well, the ball definitely came out. I'm going to say he was down by contact. It'll be Chicago ball. But is this Langford? I believe it is. Yeah, knee down, ball coming out.
Kadeem Carey had the carry. And it's Carey who's down.
T.J. Ward with the recovery, but looked like a blow to the head. And, of course, running backs are not protected. As a running back, the defenders can hit the runner in the helmet.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost. And by Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry. The gift she'll treasure forever.
The concern right now is for Kadeem Carey, 2nd-year running back. It appeared he hit his helmet on the turf when he went down. The ball came loose. T.J. Ward was flying in there to make the play defensively.
Yeah, watch Carey's head as he tries to struggle to get yardage here. That shot is to the shoulder by T.J. Ward, but you can see the force with which Carey's head hits the ground.
They formed a semicircle around him. His Bears teammates.
Yeah, he's moving his arms, obviously. That concern is always there.
Up on his feet. Carey has been spelling Jeremy Langford. Anton Smith, the veteran formerly the Atlanta Falcons, also available at running back.
In fact, Carey had 9 carries in the game so far for 32 yards. Langford 8 for just 15.
Carey walking off on his own and will make a beeline for the locker room. 8:16 mark of the 3rd quarter. Carey did get the first down on that carry up the middle. So line of scrimmage is the 21. Langford is back in there for Chicago. Here's Cutler, the throw. Over the middle. It's intercepted. Danny Trevathan brought down. Just the 6th interception of the season for Cutler, who has limited the mistakes. And that's a big one there on a 15-yard return. Trevathan comes up with the INT.
Yeah, Trevathan, with his great athlete, great speed, Zach Miller coming across the middle, down the field a little bit deeper was Wilson. And how deep can you get as a linebacker? Trevathan way deep in the secondary, cuts underneath of Wilson and comes up with his pick. First mistake of the ball game for either team.
Danny Trevathan has developed into a 3-down linebacker. First takeaway since week 6, a victory at Cleveland for this Denver D. Broncos have a 1st and 10 in Chicago territory at the 25 and a 10-6 lead. On the ground, it's Hillman. Cutting it to the outside, Ronnie Hillman crosses the 20. Paradis, the center, with a key block and a 7-yard pickup.
Well, we've seen this out of Hillman a couple times today, forcing the action here and then cutting outside. Good blocking there by Schofield. Good balance again by Hillman.
Ronnie Hillman making his 4th straight start. Last week limited to 42 yards on the ground. He's got 73 today. Running play to Hillman. Hillman's got a 1st down. That right side, Paradis, Vasquez, Schofield helps spring Hillman to a 7-yard pickup.
You get a couple of good runs like that. The next thing you're going to see out of Denver is a bootleg from Osweiler, drawing the linebackers up and firing one into the end zone.
Tyler Columbus is in for Denver on that offensive line. New set of downs for the Broncos. On the running play, Ronnie Hillman, nowhere to go. 1-yard pickup. Jarvis Jenkins helped make sure of it.
Jenkins did a good job that time, sliding underneath the block of Schofield. That was 3 straight runs to the right side of the Denver offense. First time the Bears have had an answer.
They've got 112 yards rushing, averaging 86 per game this season. C.J. Anderson checks in. 2nd and 9 for the Broncos, trying to add to their lead. Under 6 minutes to go in the 3rd. Handoff. Anderson. He got slowed down in the backfield and struggled for no gain. Lamar Houston pressing there for the Chicago D.
Yeah, 4 straight runs now to the right side. 2 good and 2 not so good.
Schofield back in. Columbus to the sideline for Denver. This is a 3rd and 9 for the Broncos. Osweiler rifles over the middle. It's caught. Jordan Norwood. They had a chance to get a 1st down. It'll depend on the spot. Amos and Fuller make sure he didn't get to the goal line.
And now decision time. And the decision has been made by Gary Kubiak. 4th down and about a yard, maybe less than a yard for the 1st down.
Dan, they're going to go with 6 offensive linemen. Max Garcia is in for the Broncos, and he is eligible.
And Osweiler is going to be forced to call a timeout here.
Play clock's down to 4. Denver will use its first timeout with 4:27 to play in the 3rd. Hey, fantasy players, dominate your league with CBS Sports award-winning fantasy experts and analysis. Get real-time rankings, add, drop, and trade advice, plus much more. Go to cbssports.com/win.
Yeah, in a tight game like this, using a timeout still here in the 3rd quarter is difficult to explain, especially coming down the stretch. But it'll be interesting to see how much they trust Osweiler now with a bootleg or some type of play where he's on the move and able to try to find one of his receivers. The Broncos will come in with an extra linebacker at the fullback position here.
So it's Ferentz now shifting out of the fullback spot on 4th and 1. The running play coming up short. Ronnie Hillman on the stumble.
And if he doesn't stumble, I believe he's going to score easily. But the little stumble, and maybe it's Osweiler who trips him here.
Yes.
Yeah, he pushes his right foot into his left foot as he goes by on the handoff.
They're gonna measure it. He's 6'8", Osweiler.
Yeah, he's got some big dogs under that 6'8", too. That may just cost them. And it did, big time. Not even close.
No. Bears take over on a huge stop here in the 3rd quarter. John Fox is fired up. Hillman right there, the trip. Osweiler on the handoff, and Hillman could not stay upright. Frustration from Brock Osweiler on the give to Hillman. His leg got in the way of Hillman as he was trying to accelerate for the first down or the touchdown. They come up short. 3rd possession of the 2nd half for the Bears. Langford the carry. They have started from their own 9-yard line, their own 10-yard line, and now on this drive, their own 2-yard line. Hit by Trevathan.
Yeah, and the Broncos waste the interception by Trevathan. No payoff there. To get down to the 2-yard line and then have that miscue.
Problem here for Chicago, Dan. No Jeffrey and no Royal.
That really limits your passing game. Nobody to stretch the defense. Broncos can play a lot tighter.
2nd and 7 for the Bears. Cutler out of his own end zone. Cutler hooks up with Zach Miller along the sideline. It will be short of a first down. Von Miller in the matchup.
Yeah, that's just Zach Miller's 2nd catch of the day. He had that 21-yarder earlier in the ball game in the 1st quarter.
Miller himself, a former quarterback. That's what he played at Nebraska Omaha. So he said that helps him with awareness of defenses, understanding timing, having that internal clock from his days playing in the pocket. This is 3rd and 1 now. Langford lines up as a receiver. Kadeem Carey being evaluated for a concussion back in the Chicago locker room. Flags come down. Shane Ray trying to get a jump.
Yeah, but was he drawn offsides?
Offside.
Apparently not.
Defense number 56.
Huge rookie mistake.
Result
On
of
a
the
3rd down,
first down.
automatic first down for the Bears. Well, you can see he was at the far side of the line of scrimmage, and Cutler with a good hard count there pulls the rookie offsides.
3 penalties against Denver. No penalties against the Bears today. 2:38 left in the 3rd. Cutler on a give for Langford. Just trying to soften up this Denver defense. They pick up 5 going up the gut.
Well, you notice that's where they're focusing with their rushing attack, is between the tackles. They know about the speed of these linebackers for Denver. Very difficult to get anything on the perimeter.
Broncos are number 7 against the run this season. 94.6 yards allowed per game. Number 1 against the pass. 2nd and 5. Cutler lines up the deep ball. Juggled and dropped. Flag down. Bennett in a matchup with Marshall.
That's a jump ball for the 6'6" Marshall.
Defense.
Or Bennett, rather. There you can see
First
Marshall
down.
never looking back for the ball. Will push on Bennett there, try to knock it away, and that'll draw a flag. And it's a huge flag. Back-to-back penalties now on the Broncos. One on the 3rd and short, and now a penalty worth 29 yards.
So they spot the football at the 50. PI against Brandon Marshall. 2:02 to play in the 3rd.
Lion, you got Fletcher.
Once again, Chicago will go empty. Cutler will operate out of the gun. Cutler In a pocket, on the move, over the middle. Marquise Wilson, stutter step move by Wilson, leans in. Big gainer, 29 yards.
You always talk about the athleticism of the quarterback. We got a late flag there at the end of that play at the 20-yard line. This may be extra yardage for the Bears. But Cutler doing a great job of sliding in the pocket, buying time for his receivers, and delivering a little sidearm sling.
Oh, now the teams are getting into it. The teams came together at the 30-yard line, and the officials trying to get involved here. Aqib Talib is having an extended conversation.
And Malik Jackson as well for Denver getting involved.
There is no foul on the play for a blindside block. The block occurred on the shoulder.
That was the block from Langford.
And the legal part of this is that he was not a crackback block. We've seen that called a number of times this year, but because Langford was not, his angle was not coming back towards his own goal line, it was deemed to not be an illegal block.
Are they looking for T.J. Ward out there right now as well? Up the middle for Langford, falls forward and picks up 2. Marshall in on the stop for Denver. We're down to a minute 32 and counting left in the third.
Fox reacting after he saw the penalty flag. The officials doing a good job of getting together and sorting that one out.
Line of scrimmage is the 19. This is a 2nd and 8 for the Bears. Cutler has time. The ball bangs off of Langford, incomplete. Shaquille Barrett in coverage.
But again, Cutler had a lot of time to find Langford, and that is going to be nothing but trouble for the Broncos. And talk about giving time to a quarterback. Kyle Long doing an outstanding job at right tackle on the great pass rusher Von Miller.
Dime package here with Roby and Bruton in for Denver. Mark Mariani is in for Chicago. 3rd and 8. 1 minute to go in the third. 10-6 Denver in front. From the gun. Cutler throws it. Incomplete. Target was Wilson. Roby stepping in and almost had himself an interception.
Roby very disappointed in himself because this should have been picked off. Wilson on a fade route here. Great position by Roby. He spots the ball, and Wilson does a great job of playing defensive back with the right hand to knock it away.
So the Bears will have to settle for a field goal attempt here with Gold, 37 yards. He's made a pair of them from 46 yards away and a 37-yarder as well. Dackert snaps it. O'Donnell holds it. And the 37-yarder is good for Gold. This is a 10-9 game.
Great hold by O'Donnell here. Snap came in low from Gafford. Look at this job here. Catching it, putting on its point, and watch it go through the upright into the net where the icicles fall. Crucial play by O'Donnell.
So 49 seconds remain in the third quarter. Denver 10, Chicago 9. Broncos had a chance to punch it in, did not. Chicago drive down the field.
Yeah, we talked about the lack of mistakes in this ball game and how both teams have played error-free, except for the one interception. But who would ever think that a quarterback tripping the running back is would be considered a huge mistake. Well, it cost him at least 3 points.
So you never tripped Chuck Muncie. That's your point? Never happened?
He's too fast.
You couldn't even
And
get to him.
if I tried to trip him, he would have just run right over me anyway. He's a big, powerful guy.
Robbie Gould will kick it off. 8 plays, 79 yards. It took 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Omar Bolden is deep for Denver. Shorter kick. Bolden fields at the 5. Bolden looking for a running lane. Crosses the 25, comes up short of the 30. Jones courting with a stop on special teams. Brock Osweiler in his first NFL start, 15 of 20, 183 yards, and a touchdown for the 6'8" Arizona State product. Osweiler told us, in regards to Peyton Manning, I'd love to have him here, but I understand why he's not. He's trying to get himself healthy. Manning didn't make the trip. Marcus Ware didn't make the trip.
180! What's up?
Denver's lead is 1. Osweiler in the pocket. Osweiler throws to Davis. 11-yard pickup and a first down. Willie Young with a tackle to move the chains out across the 40.
And you talked about the Broncos' desire to get Vernon Davis more involved. Well, he is that today. 5 catches now for 50 yards. And looking really comfortable hooking up with Brock Osweiler.
2-time Pro Bowler with the San Francisco 49ers.
180! What's up?
Hillman the setback. Picks up 3 yards, cutting it to the outside, and that'll do it for the third quarter. Christian Jones will get credit for the stop. Denver 10, Chicago 9. Back to Soldier Field after this message and a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50. Jay Cutler and the Bears are down 10-9 as we start the fourth quarter. Brock Osweiler and the Broncos face a 2nd and 7 at their own 43-yard line.
180! What's up?
Daniels, the motion man. Fake the handoff. Osweiler steps up. Osweiler fires low. Incomplete. Thomas, the intended receiver. It's 3rd and 7 for Denver.
Well, this is how Osweiler started his day with a handshake of Pete Morelli. And then 4 plays later, a 48-yard touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas. Been finding his tight ends, too. Vernon Davis has 5 catches. That's Owen Daniels with 3. And Osweiler is showing his athletic ability. Pick us 5 yards on that one.
Dime package here for Chicago. Allen Ball and Bryce Callahan in. This is a 3rd and 7 for Denver. We're just underway in the 4th. Working out of the gun. Releasing out of the backfield, C.J. Anderson with a catch and a first down into Chicago territory. Well designed, well executed to the tune of 12 yards.
Yeah, it's a busted coverage for the Bears. McClellan came on the blitz and nobody was there to pick up Anderson out of the backfield. Good read by Osweiler, finding the open man.
Osweiler is over 200 yards passing now. We asked him, do you think that John Fox and Adam Gase have an advantage because they know you? He said, yeah, they know me. They know me as a person. They know what kind of player I am. Do they have an advantage? We'll find out. Anderson, stop and go. Out across the 40-yard line. That indicated to me that he did not believe that it was going to be a difference in this game.
They know him as a backup quarterback and as a guy that prepares hard and studies his game plan. They don't know him as a starting quarterback. And that's what they're seeing today.
Well, nobody does. That was the biggest part of this equation, the mystery of Osweiler and how he would handle the responsibility.
And he had played well in the preseason, and that's where Kubiak started to build his confidence in the young quarterback.
2nd and 4. Take the handoff, toss it to a wide open Daniels. And Daniels has a first down for Denver. Across the 25-yard line.
A real good play fake. on the bootleg. This is the staple of this offense. Fake the stretch run, drag the tight end short this time across the middle out to the flat. And there's Owen Daniels with another big game. 16 on that play.
Well, the targets today, the tight ends have been heavily involved, and they've produced.
59.
First and 10 from the 23. Picks it up with a running game again. Hillman down the sideline. He's out of bounds. Harris and Paragus. Excellent job up front. Hillman getting to the edge.
We saw that pass distribution stat. Remember, Emmanuel Sanders not playing today with ankle and a finger problem. Demaryius Thomas, 3 catches for 59 yards. But the tight ends obviously coming up big. Good adjustment by Kubiak and staff.
It's another first down for Denver. 11-yard gain for Hillman. Now has 95 yards on the ground. First down run, Hillman. Bears were ready for him. 2-yard gain. Pernell McPhee leading the charge for Chicago.
Hillman closing in on 100 yards rushing. He only has 100-yard game this season, as does C.J. Anderson. But they have answered their biggest question. Can they run the ball today against the Bears? And both Anderson and Hillman doing a good job behind that offensive line.
They had 160 yards rushing against Green Bay a few weeks ago. The last 2 games combined, they had 104 yards on the ground. This is a 2nd and 8 now for Denver. Osweiler out of the pocket, and he will throw this one away. Cody Latimer in the area. And it brings up 3rd and long as he was matched up with Porter.
And just a smart throwaway too, because that ball is either going to be a miraculous catch by Latimer, or it's going to end up out of the back of the end zone. No chance for an interception there when you're in field goal range and you got a 3rd down coming up.
Brock Osweiler said, I've had a ton of time to sit back and watch, not just Peyton Manning, but other quarterbacks. I feel like I understand why they make certain decisions, avoid turnovers, make good decisions. That was a good one. 3rd and 8. Osweiler, a fastball to the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos. Cody Latimer. The scout team hooking up. Osweiler and Latimer have done it in practice, and Team Osweiler celebrating in the stands at Soldier Field.
Yeah, he looked off the secondary, off to the right, then back to the left, and there's that fastball. First NFL touchdown catch for Latimer. And he had no choice but to catch that one. That would have gone right through his chest.
Denver extends the lead. 2nd touchdown pass for the birthday boy, Brock Osweiler. Denver goes 10 plays, 71 yards, and Osweiler delivers to Latimer. Denver looking for the road win, trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. Before the season started, I'm not sure anybody would have predicted that Brock Osweiler and Cody Latimer would be playing big roles Week 11 with the Broncos at 7-2 and a critical game against the Chicago Bears.
Now this is what Osweiler is looking at. Got Kyle Fuller right here playing outside shade as Latimer comes down into the inside. As soon as he breaks to the inside, he's open. And Osweiler sees him, and he knows he's got no other help on the inside.
So the touchback gives the Bears the football at the 20. This is actually their best starting field position of the second half. 11:42 to play. It's still a 1-possession game. 17-9 Denver. Shotgun for Cutler. Cutler on the move. Cutler still going across the 35.
That's a late hit too on T.J. Ward. Yeah, they're going to get him for a personal foul, something that has plagued the Broncos all year long. In fact, Ward back-to-back games now.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Cutler on the ground here. Play should be blown dead, and here's the shot. A late hit by T.J. Ward. 18 yards on the gain, 15 more on the penalty.
Gary Kubiak said, we'll still be aggressive, but we have to be smarter. Kubiak said it was a focal point this week. An NFL worst 21 personal foul penalties coming into this game. Denver's defense has been fined over $420,000 this season. Cutler, a floater to Wilson. Caught from behind, inside the 10. Chris Harris Jr.
Now Jay Cutler answering the challenge here. First with his legs, and now this floater way down the field to Wilson. Wilson running behind the secondary coverage of Chris Harris inside the 10. Watch this soft throw to Wilson. Good for 40. So they go 73 yards in 2 plays. We have an official that may be a little shaken up on the sidelines.
Yeah, the field judge is being helped along the sideline right now at the 10:47 mark.
That's Rick Patterson. Yeah, you talk about killing momentum. No fault at all for Mr. Patterson, but Bears were hot, real fast.
And they're going to have to work without the field judge right now. There are provisions in place for these crews to handle these kinds of situations. First and goal for the Bears. Langford in the backfield. Bellamy the motion man. Play clock is down to 3. Cutler, soft toss. Langford the catch. Langford turns the corner but can't get to the goal line. Brandon Marshall cutting off the angle.
Yeah, great job by Marshall and a smart play by Zach Miller. He had a chance to maybe throw a block on Marshall, but he saw it would be a clip, and so he backed off. Watch 86 and 54 right side of the screen. Miller making the decision to not throw that block.
Cameron Meredith is in, a taller target for Cutler. Second and goal. Cutler looks, throws. Incomplete. Bennett, the intended receiver, in a matchup with the safety Darian Stewart.
I think Cutler would like to have this throw back because Bennett, again, 6'6", ball thrown way too low, never gave him a shot at out leaping Stewart. Stewart goes at about 5'11", loses about 7 inches in that matchup.
It's third and goal at the 4 for the Bears. They trail 17-9. Shotgun, Cutler. Steps up, Cutler a dart. Incomplete. Marquise Wilson, the intended receiver.
Yeah, and this is really where they losing Jeffrey today really kills this Bears attack. You can see the decision now for John Fox. Go for it on 4th down. They've got a pretty good record on 4th down conversions this year, 5 out of 8. This one critical.
So Fox is rolling the dice on a 4th and goal inside the 5. Cutler backpedals, steps up. Cutler pump fake, upstairs, knocked away. It's incomplete. The Bears come up empty on 4th down, and Denver will take over deep in its own territory. He was thinking about running. He thought twice about it and tried to get it upstairs for his running back, Langford.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Creed. This Wednesday, fight for your name. The all-new LG V10. Capture the in-between moments. And by Toyota. Let's go places.
One of those plays that can be forgotten when you think of the big picture of a game. Chris Harris Jr. saved the touchdown. Looked like Marquise Wilson was going to go all the way, and the Bears get no points out of the possession. 17-9, Denver leads it. It's a handoff to Anderson. Spun down shy of the 10. It's a 5-yard pickup.
We'll go back to that 4th down play. Cutler originally is looking in this direction for Mariani to the back of the end zone, but he sees a huge gap open up here and thinks about running right about there. Now he has 2 receivers in the area, and Talib knocks the ball down. Now if Talib makes that catch and falls down, he saves his team 16 yards. The ball would have come out to the 20-yard line.
2nd and 5 here for the Broncos. Anderson again. 4-yard pickup. He was trampled down shy of the 15.
Yep. Cutler looking at what we just saw, disappointed. But, you know, you react to what you see. And he saw an opening there, thought he might be able to run it in. Then he saw his receivers. Things happen.
Pivotal play here on a 3rd and 1. Osweiler trying to make sure everybody's on the same page. Anderson set up behind him. Osweiler will work under center. And Anderson, big run by Anderson. He's caught by Fuller. Or that could have been disastrous for the Chicago defense. 1st down, 15 yards for C.J. Anderson, who's gaining steam.
And really good blocking here at the point of attack. Ryan Harris and the new guy, Vernon Davis there. And real close to busting a real big one for C.J. Anderson.
Have the ball at the 28-yard line. Hillman and Anderson combining. And the Bears can't stop them. Chicago came in 26th in the league against the run. This time it's Hillman. A 1-yard pickup for Hillman, met by Eddie Goldman on the play. Under 8 minutes left. Tonight, how prepared are we for a terror strike? Find out how big American cities are planning to protect themselves. That's tonight on 60 Minutes, only CBS. Gary Kubiak has seen his young quarterback complete 19 of 26 for 232 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And no interceptions.
Take the handoff, dump it off for Vernon Davis, turns it upfield. Davis stood up as he crosses the 45 by Chris Krasinski. 18 yards on the catch and run.
It seems like the air has come out of this Bear defense after seeing their offense fail from deep in the they're in the end of the field there against the Broncos on that 4th down. And now the Broncos and this young quarterback playing with tremendous amount of confidence.
And they're using clock.
Getting an athlete like Vernon Davis is, kind of fills a void that Julius Thomas left when he left.
Handed off for Hillman. A hop step across midfield for a 4-yard pickup. Nice darting move by Hillman. NFL Today update. Let's go to New York. JB and Tony.
Colts refusing to fold.
Yeah, right here off a play action pass. Matt Ryan's going to drop back, get picked off. His 2nd interception of today. DeQuell Jackson takes it back 6 yards. We are knotted up 21-21 in the 4th quarter.
Iron Eagle, Dan Fouts.
And remember, no Andrew Luck, so it's Matt Hasselbeck leading that Indianapolis offense today. Hasselbeck was one of those guys who was a backup quarterback. Somebody believed in him. It was Mike Holmgren, who goes from Green Bay to Seattle, makes a ton of money, and turns it into an excellent career. Latimer on the end around. And Cody Latimer is banged down. You know, you touched on it earlier with Brock Osweiler. You have so many things at stake here. Denver is an organization trying to figure out whether or not Osweiler is the future and if they're going to invest big money in him. Osweiler individually trying to prove to everybody around the league that he can be a starting quarterback at this level.
Yeah, everything is an audition at this point in a young quarterback's career. You're auditioning for a job as a starting quarterback in the NFL, and so far, it's been very impressive. On the road against this Bear defense in very cold weather.
This is a 3rd and 1 for Denver. Anderson up the gut. Anderson tries to keep the legs moving. He didn't get enough. Anderson comes up short. And what do you do here? In an 8-point game, 5:09 left. It's going to be 4th down for the Broncos.
Well, you got the best defense in the NFL. So really, either decision you make, you're going to rely on your defense to make the difference. Obviously, the decision here for Kubiak is to go for it. They've been running the ball very well, but that run was up the middle. They've had more success going off tackle on that stretch run play. On either side, really.
They'll come measure it, but they are about a yard shy.
Yeah, good eagle eye. Again, game after game.
I have glasses, Dan. I need help.
Eagle 4 eyes. One more time.
It's 4th and 1, and the offense remains on the field, Dan.
Yeah, Osweiler's a big dude, too. A quarterback sneak might catch the Bears off balance here and off guard. But I think you go with your bread and butter here. But a bootleg would be awful sweet, too.
In this spot, Peyton Manning would look to draw the defense off sides. We'll see how much Osweiler has learned.
Too much noise on the road to do that.
4th down. In motion, Daniels.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what they're trying to do, Ian.
Play clock's down to 3.
They'll take the delay a game.
Chicago would not bite.
It's just so difficult with all the crowd noise. It's just a waste of time, basically, to try to draw your opponent off sides when you're on the road.
You give it a shot. Maybe there's a defensive player that gets overzealous,
yeah. But you have nothing to lose, really, because you back it up 5 yards. You actually give your punter more chance to get the ball down deep in the Bears' end of the field.
And they get to use more clock. Colquitt. A short punt. Mariani sliding catch made. And the Bears will have it at the 23. That's a 27-yard punt in the 4th. As part of the NFL Salute to Service, 10 U.S. Army Golden Knights parachuted into Soldier Field before the game. What an awesome shot of that. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, Eddie will donate $1,000 to its nonprofit partners, Patroni Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute, learn more, visit NFL.com/salute.
And Cutler just tripped Langford. They both go down after the handoff, and the Bears are going to lose a couple of yards. It's been a trippy game.
Like everybody's tripping out a little bit. 2nd and 12 for the Bears. 23 yards rushing for Langford. Under 4 minutes to play. 17-9, Denver in front. Rush is coming. Over the middle. Bellamy the catch. Bellamy brought down. Bradley Roby with the tackle. And a modest gain of 2 on the play. 3rd and long now for the Bears. 3:30 and counting left in the 4th.
And again, no Alshon Jeffrey, no Eddie Royal. Nobody to really push this defense, loosen it up a little bit. Good close that time by Roby.
Bears are 2 of 10 on 3rd down conversions. This is a 3rd and 10. Cutler gets out of trouble. On the move. Cutler throws it to Bennett for the 1st down. Wow. A new set of downs for Chicago, and It keeps the drive alive, 17 yards.
Beautiful throw on the run under pressure, and a great catch under even more pressure, absorbing the big hit from Ward, picking up 17.
Terrell! Where's it? Terrell! Where's it go?
Play fake. Cutler. Knocked away. Bennett, the intended receiver. Darian Stewart there. 2:37 left in the fourth.
Well, the Broncos know that Bennett is the Bears' leading receiver. Came in with 48 catches on the year. He's got 2 here in this ball game, but Cutler trying to get him deep down the field to no avail.
Hey, Pepper!
Bears have it at their own 41-yard line.
180!
From the gun, Cutler steps up. Cutler. Receiver falls down in a flag. Bennett with Talib.
And Talib said, hey, we just got our legs tangled up. Inadvertent, and yet he draws the flag. Denver
Pass
now with 6
interference,
penalties.
number 21 defense, automatic first down.
And this is another big one. Actually, 7 penalties now for 100 yards. That's pass interference all the way as Talib going to the ground, trying to drag down the big tight end. The Bears have yet to be penalized this afternoon.
That was a 26-yard penalty. And it sets up Chicago with a 1st and 10 inside the Denver 35. Cutler. It was slapped away and picked off. Miller gets a piece, and Malik Jackson is there. The Bears turn it over with 2:23 remaining.
Von Miller finally shows up with the strip sack. A huge play for Denver.
The #1 defense delivers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the new 6th Gen Intel Core processor. It's Intel's best processor ever. And by Subway, the legendary sweet onion chicken teriyaki. Subway, eat fresh.
Coming up, Subway postgame show. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower. Latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. So here's the scenario now. The turnover from Cutler. Bears have all 3 timeouts left. If they stop Denver cold here, they could get the ball back right around 2 minutes left. Anderson, the carry, picks up the first career interception for Malik Jackson in his 4th year in the league.
Smart move by a defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips, to move that man, Von Miller, to the other side of the formation. Huge play.
So now a 2nd and 7. Bears have 2 timeouts remaining. We have 2:17 to play. Green, the motion man. Handed off to Anderson. Anderson was looking to go outside, cuts it inside. No gain on the play. Mitch Unrein, the former Bronco, in on the stop. And another timeout used with 2:12 left. Coming up Thursday, December 3rd, your weekend starts here. NFC North rivalry, the Packers and the Lions, Thursday Night Football, only on CBS and NFL Network.
Yeah, the question is now, here you got 3rd and about 7. Peyton Manning's in there. Do you obviously trust him to throw the ball? Do you trust the young Osweiler to throw this, or do you still continue to work on the clock?
Evan Mathis just limped off for the Denver Broncos, the veteran left guard. So Max Garcia is in at left guard. This is a 3rd and 7.
And if I'm Gary Kubiak, I'm going to run this ball, hope for the best, bring out the punt team, try to pin the Bears deep in their own end, and let their defense, their great defense that has limited the Bears today to just a couple of field goals, win the ball game.
The officials were huddled up.
There was an injured player for Denver.
Chicago will get their
So they're going
timeout
to get that
back.
timeout back.
Wow. That was Mathis,
Yep.
who was injured on the play.
Had to come off the field.
So the Bears get a timeout back. They have 2 remaining.
That is absolutely huge.
If they stop them here, that saves them valuable seconds.
And they can stop one. Use that second one before the 2-minute warning.
Going down, Osweiler.
Well, I don't know about taking that sack. It's about an 8-yard sack. Every yard so critical at this point of the ball game. Just throw the ball away.
And it takes us to the 2-minute warning. The Bears are going to get the ball back with 2 timeouts.
Well, here's Osweiler. Going to give himself up and give up a lot of yards with this sack. Obviously, the clock, Osweiler thought he was late hit there. But the official's still trying to figure something out with the clock and timeouts, and Gary Kubiak wants answers.
Question is, did Gary Kubiak call a timeout? Did Morelli just say that the Bears used a timeout before the 2-minute warning? Remember, Chicago got 1 back because of the Mathis injury. Here's the issue. They've now corrected the error. The Mathis injury occurred. Morelli thought it was under 2 minutes. It was not. So they do have to take the timeout away from Chicago because it had already been called. So it will not affect Denver's timeouts. It will affect the Bears. 1 timeout remaining now for Chicago. On the punt to Mariano. He's spun down at the 35-yard line by Bruton. So the Bears take over with 1:49 left. Just 1 timeout remaining. Jay Cutler has thrown 2 picks in the second half.
Well, and remember, down by 8, they need the touch and the 2-pointer afterwards. The Bears have gone for a 2-pointer 4 times this season, converted 2 of those, 1 to Matt Forte and 1 to Jeremy Langford. But first things first.
Denver comes out in the dime. First down. Cutler steps up. Cutler gets rid of it. Downfield, Cutler connects with Zach Miller into Denver territory. We're down to 1:35, and the clock is rolling. A 20-yard pass play.
Just a great job of buying time, sifting his way through the pocket and getting that ball off just in the nick of time to Miller.
They're at the 45 of the Broncos, down 8. Cutler settles in. Sideline toss. Josh Bellamy tried to twirl out of trouble.
Well, he twirled the wrong way. You got to twirl out of bounds. The inexperience of Bellamy costs the Bears precious seconds now.
He's a first-year guy out of Louisville who's bounced around. Cutler to the sideline. This time Wilson gets out. And the Bears moving the football. Under a minute to play now.
And the smart thing that Wilson did there is when he went out of bounds, he was heading towards his own goal, towards the goal line. So many times this year we've seen receivers go out of bounds, coming back towards their end of the field, and the officials will keep the clock winding.
Hey, 5-4.
Adam Gase dialing up the plays on a 2nd and 6 now. Denver 17, the Bears 9. 58 seconds to play at Soldier Field. Cutler, plenty of time. Cutler fires. Incomplete with a flag down. Martellus Bennett in a matchup with Bradley Roby.
Bennett is a mismatch nightmare. 6'6", 275, very athletic. And all Roby can do is wrestle with him down the sidelines to keep him from making that back shoulder throw and reception.
That's an 18-yard penalty, and it sets up the Bears at the 11.
And they were just here, weren't they?
They were.
Did not take advantage of it. In fact, it's been an afternoon of not taking advantage of good field position and having to settle for 3 field goals.
8 penalties for 118 yards against Denver. The Bears have not had a penalty today. 5-receiver set. Cutler hooks a pass. It's caught by Langford. Short of the goal line. 9-yard play, 38 seconds left. Bears get to the line quickly. Cutler moving pocket. Cutler against the grain. Incomplete. Over the middle, the knockaway by Roby. Bellamy the target for the Bears.
That's the beautiful thing about defensive backs. The short memory, here it is. Make a play on the next play. You get called for pass interference on Bennett, but look at this play by Roby.
They can run the football here because they have the timeout. 29 seconds left. Mitch Unrein is in. A defensive lineman at fullback. Trailing by 8. Handoff. Up the gut. Langford. Touchdown Bears. Jeremy Langford plows in. They are 2 points away from tying this one up late in the fourth.
And he followed the block of Unrein. Unrein, who used to play for the Broncos, is 6'4", 306 pounds. And Langford gets in behind him and then heads straight up the field, north and south into the end zone.
And here's the 2-point try for Chicago. 17-15 Broncos. Langford in the backfield. Going against the best defense this year statistically in the NFL. Langford denied. The Broncos with the stop.
That T.J. Ward from his safety spot, totally unblocked, dove at the legs of Langford, and Langford never had a shot.
With 24 seconds left, Denver holding on to a 17-15 lead.
Watch number 43 right here. Slice in there and catch him from behind.
The play call on the 2-point try was an up-the-middle run. Brock Osweiler in his first NFL start. He is 24 seconds away from a victory.
And a real happy 16-hour drive back to Montana for Mom and Dad. Happy birthday.
17-15 Broncos. His parents, his wife Erin, and Denver on the precipice of moving to 8-2 on the season.
Dad just asked Mom, do you have the keys to the car? Or do I?
Where do we park, exactly? Robbie Gould will kick it off, looking for an onside kick here.
And you go back to John Fox's decision to go for it on 4th down inside the 5-yard line and not go for the field goal at that point.
Gould has never cashed in on an onside kick in his career. 0 of 15. Could this be the first? No. Denver's got it with 24 seconds left. Hands team on there, Demaryius Thomas. The Subway postgame show is coming up. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cowher, scores, highlights, all coming up on the Subway postgame show. Broncos will get into victory formation. And Jay Cutler and the Bears will come up short. Osweiler takes a knee. That'll do it. The Denver Broncos hold on Brock Osweiler stepping in for the injured Peyton Manning on his 25th birthday gets the win for Denver. 17-15 the final in Chicago. Let's go to JB in New York.
Happy 25th birthday for Brock Osweiler. Getting